Hey friends, you got Renee Rivera here at Mold Mending, and this is part one of the IICRC standards. The standard and reference guide for professional mold remediation is what we're going to cover here. Today, while I was online reviewing one of the videos that I had made, I noticed that there was other videos right under mine that were showing mold remediation and people doing it the way that they thought was the way you should do it. And unfortunately, they were doing it wrong. There's actually a standard out there that I have learned on the proper way to do mold remediation. And there is a medically sound way also to do it. And when I had first started doing the research, I'm telling you, it is so crazy confusing because there is so much misinformation out there about mold remediation on YouTube, on the websites, on the internet. I'm telling you, even going to the hardware and looking for certain products, I will even run into people who have been contractors or former contractors, or they've fixed buildings and such, and they tell me, all you need is bleach. That's all you got to do. And they tell me their way that they were told how to do it. And I'm going to be honest, it's a pet peeve of mine now. Don't know if you've got any pet peeves, but for me, my pet peeve is the misinformation about mold. So I wanted to just bring to you a resource so that when you need to cross the bridge of your own mold remediation, most folks are going to run into some sort of water damage in their home or in their office or at their school. And there is a basic standard of what to follow so that the people who are dwelling in that place can remain well, and so that that building can also remain healthy. So I'm going to share screen with you to share with you this website. It is called the IICRC. So if you want to go online and find this, it's IICRC.org. This IICRC, what it stands for is the Institute of Inspection, Cleaning, and Restoration Certification. So why am I bringing this up? Because there's so much out there, and many of them make their way of remediation sound convincible. And then they even show you these videos of, like the one I saw today, which kind of riled up my anger. Somebody crawling in a crawl space. They're laying on top of a small piece of plastic. They've got garbage bags with them. And they say, just cut the insulation, throw the insulation in a bag. And while he's filming, you can see all these particles that he has just stirred up. And I'm telling you, it's just not only the particles from his insulation that have been stirred up, but he has just stirred up mold spores. And he's talking on the camera without proper protective gear that's protecting him. You can see even his skin on his arms. And I'm like, dude, you're putting yourself in a bad situation. But he's also making that crawl space now fully contaminated because of the way that he is telling people to do mold remediation. So, little side note, when you're looking for somebody to do mold remediation, get them certified through the IICRC. So I am on their website now. I'm showing the screen at the IICRC.org. And you will see at the very top of the screen, towards the top of the screen, you can learn more about them. You can learn about their certifications. So those of you that are doing cleaning and restoration, you can be certified through this organization. This is a global organization with over 49,000 certified technicians and over 6,500 firms that follow this. Okay. And it's also an ANSI, an ANSI, an American National Standards Institute member. So what they are is they're an accredited standard developer of different standards out there. So in the middle of the page, you click the word standards. So I'm going to do that. I'm clicking the word standards, and there's actually a drop down menu. You can buy the standards. You can look at some of them. So I click on the one that says standards and field guides. You click on standards and field guides, it will give you a list of all the different ones that have already been published out there. And when we're talking about mold, you've got all sorts of things of how you're cleaning textile flooring and upholstery and water damage and mold, crime scene cleanup. So this is the standard for the professionals to follow. The standards serve to develop, I'm just going to read you what it says right here at the top, okay? The standards serve to develop common industry accepted language and terminology that enables us to more universally discuss concepts and procedures regarding cleaning, inspection, and restoration. The ANSI is a voluntary consensus standard, and unless mandated by law, compliance is voluntary. However, some have been adopted as code or regulation by local, state, or federal authorities. Of all the things that I've seen out there, this is the most detailed and the best medically sound advice that you can find for this mold remediation. Okay, so when you scroll down, you're going to find all these different standards, which I was mentioning. And the one we're talking about is mold remediation. So you'll find that one. It says ANSI IICRC S520 standard for professional mold remediation. And then the last that it has been, so 2015, they updated it and also published it. Now, this is just about mold remediation and the standards that should be followed by the professionals out there, as well as this is something when you see it online, it is not something that is for free. So you actually need to purchase it if you would like to learn all the details. Remember, we can be well even while ill. And then make sure you check out part 2. We're going to be discussing a good sneak peek of that guide. You'll get more details there.